Welcome everyone, it's Sam Ovens here and welcome to the Consulting Accelerator live call. This is the week 3 live coaching call. So on this call, if it's your first time on this one and you haven't attended the first 2, how these calls work is I'm going to start off by going through some of these questions which people have asked here. Some questions people have asked before the webinar, and then I'm also going to answer some questions live on this webinar as well. So if you have questions, you can ask them in the questions box towards the end, and I will answer your questions there. So to start with, don't ask me questions in the questions box for the first part of the call because I can only do one thing at a time. So I'm going to start off going through these, and then I'm going to jump through your questions. So let's jump right into it. So this person's having a hard time picking a niche. You really need to just decide at this point. I mean, at week 3, you should be able to anyone can come up with 5 ideas for a niche. And you just need to come up with 5 ideas, and then you really just need to do that gun to your head scenario. Like if someone has a gun to your head and you truly have to pick one, what is it? And you just have to choose. It's just indecisiveness if you can't choose one, because anyone can come up with 5 ideas, and then you just have to choose one. It's okay to think about it for 2 weeks, but by week 3, you really want to pick one. And we've covered a lot of information on that. I'd suggest watching the call recording in week 1. So we did a live coaching call in week 1. I'd go and watch that recording, and I'd also watch the recording we did in week 2 as well. And I'd suggest helping a niche with getting more clients with digital marketing if you really are struggling. So you could pick you're going to help accountants get more clients with digital marketing or something like that. Would pro services pay an education consultant to do their marketing? My niche is education, specialization in drums. It's a very small niche with no real money, but I can help build out trainings that people will buy. Can I still present myself and build my reputation in the education niche and still sell/run FB ads for pro services? What are pro services? Professional services, I guess. Yeah, I think, if you're talking about professional services, then yeah, it would. I mean, they definitely would pay for that. At this point, we're never, a good thing to note is that you're never going to have all the answers before you start. You never do. So you should spend, a little bit of time doing some research and gathering some information, but then you just have to start and figure the answers out for real. Because you'll never have all of them. So I would say at this point, you should just dive in with this niche, start marketing to them, start getting appointments with them and start doing consults, and just find out for yourself, because we can only gather so much information before we start. And the time it would take to actually find out for real, like to start taking action on this and to start doing consults with them, you'd get your answer faster than trying to research it. Hey Sam, I get how the paid promotional strategies works with us drawing clients to us by focusing on the pain points and desires of the client. If our niche is digital marketing to source more clients for a specific niche, let's go with jewelry designers, how do we apply these methods for our clients? Does this mean we will need to understand what the consumer's pain points and desires are to get them into the funnel? How do we go about building a VSL funnel for their business? Okay, that's a good point. So what we do when we're working for our clients is we do the exact same process which we're doing ourselves right now. So you want to start off by working with your client and answering like the 10 smart market questions. Then you want to figure out your client's avatar. And then you want to, figure out what message and everything. And then you want to figure out how you're going to, create the marketing for your client. It's pretty much what you're doing for yourself, you're going to do for your client. And it's really good stuff. I want to create a small training on this. I'm just gonna put that little note here to create a small training on exactly how to do that. But we pretty much do exactly what we're doing for ourselves, we do for our clients. And so that I'm going to create an additional piece on that, and I'm going to release some additional pieces around week 7. So around week 7, I'm going to be releasing additional pieces of training, like, how to do AdWords for your clients, how to do Facebook, and how to do all of these different things for your clients. Also how to find contractors to do work for you and stuff like that. Are we able to submit our VSL script for you to review? Yes, you can send it to support@samovens.com, and about once or twice a week I block out some time to look through people's work and review it. In the current training, VSL Step 3 video, you give a survey/unbounce template that is quite short than the one you use in the example video. Is the one provided to us in the unbounce training the latest and greatest? Yes, the one provided in the unbounce training is all you need. However, if you need additional information for your particular niche, then you should add a couple of extra questions in. So the one provided in the unbounce template is all you need, but if you feel like you need an additional question or two, add it in. Do you recommend sending mail to our prospect's physical address? Yes, direct mail can work quite well. I recommend sending 1 or 2 letters and then following up on the phone if you really want to get in touch with someone. Can you give us examples of organic Facebook posts to use if we don't have any success stories to share just yet? That's a good point. Because I know most of the posts that I do on Facebook, if I show you them now, they're just all about success stories. So, here's me sharing, one success story, another success story, another one, another one, another one, another one. It's generally just all success stories. But it wasn't always like that, because, there was a point where I didn't have this much success stories to share. And so this is why it's good to have these calls and see what people want, because, I overlooked that. So yes, I will create some strategies for you guys. If you don't have success stories for organic strategies, that'll be good. I'm currently working through your program and enjoying it immensely. Awesome. Just spent 2 weeks on week 1 picking my niche, building a list of prospects and creating an offer. I still have not started making any market analysis calls to my niche. I'm spending quite a bit of time researching and packaging my niche. How much time do I have to do this before moving on to the next stage of your program? Is there a time limit? There's no time limit. Like, I'm not going to call you up and be like, dude, I'm kicking you out of the course because you've spent too long on week 1. Like, there is no time limit. You could take 3 years to do week 1 if you wanted to, but there is what I recommend. And so I wouldn't recommend any longer than 3 weeks. Ideally, I wouldn't recommend any longer than 2. Even one is enough to figure it out. So I would make the hard limit 3 weeks. So at the end of, week 3, you really want to start on this one. I can only open 2 ad accounts, then Facebook says that's enough. Yeah, Facebook made some changes since I recorded the training. It's the annoying piece about Facebook is, I record this training only like a month ago, and then Facebook changes some stuff around. So 2 ad accounts is more than enough. You don't need any more than 2. I could not open the DNG file from Telestream. I called their help desk, and if then, okay, I think I might know what's happening here. You probably have a PC. So Skype call recorder, the one that I recommend, it only works on a Mac. And if you're using a PC, then you need to find a different one. And you can go, you can search for Skype call recorder for Windows. And, you'll probably find lots of them. Pamela, you'll find lots of different ones. But if you can't open a DNG file on your computer, my guess is you got a PC, not a Mac. You mentioned that we shouldn't pursue corporate clients right now. The niche I'm looking at is mostly smaller corporations and startups. What size of organization were you talking about when you mentioned this? Well, pretty much just corporates. So corporates is like more than 500 staff. So I would recommend any business below 500 staff is a good one. How can I build credibility in my niche without a website, domain, and email? Credibility isn't about those things. In fact, if you look at my website, it's pretty bad. Like for the level of success that I've got with my business. I mean, my website it's not very great. So that's just, and it up until only a year ago, like my website was even worse than that. So it's proof that you really don't need a fancy website to do well. That's really not important at all. Like clients don't look at your website and then say, I want to work with this guy or not. They talk to you and you do the sales script the proper way. You diagnose the problem. You kick their bruised knee. You make them feel the pain of their current situation. And you go through that sales script. And, that is how you establish credibility. You don't establish credibility by saying, look at my website. And yeah, my website is horrible. It's got spelling mistakes, hasn't been updated for a year, and some of the stuff on it doesn't even work. It says that my office is still in New Zealand when it's actually in America now. So, I mean, you don't need to worry about this stuff. Just focus on being really good in consultations, focus on generating appointments. Now, remember that there's only 3 things that you need to be successful with your consulting business. And I just want to remind you of these 3 right now. So number 1 is you've got niche and offer. Number 2 is you've got a way to generate appointments. And number 3 is a way to convert appointments. Now, these are really the only 3 things that you need to be successful with your consulting business. You don't need a fancy website and domain names and credentials and all of this other stuff. You really just need these 3. So your niche and offer we cover in week 1, and you want to pick your niche, you want to get your offer dialed in, boom, we get that done. Then you want to start generating appointments. And I give you 6 ways to do that. I mean, we've got paid strategies, we've got our VSL funnel, our appointment generating machine, we've got organic methods. I mean, I give you lots of methods to start generating appointments. So once you've got your niche and offer, you start generating appointments. And then once you get these appointments, you follow the script. I give you the sales script. I mean, that thing's very powerful. You just need to learn it. You need to read it over and over and over again. You need to listen to that video training over and over again. The people in this training program who have already got clients, they've, sent me emails and messages on Facebook and stuff. And some of them show me they've sent me a photo of them reading the sales script like every night before they go to bed. So they've like printed it out onto a piece of paper and they read through it like every night before they go to bed. That's how dedicated they are to learning how to do, sales properly. Because if you just have these 3 things, there's no way you're not making money. And I can't make it any clearer for you to get these 3 things going. So that's all you need, and your brain is going to try and complicate things big time. Your brain's going to tell you, oh, no, you can't make money yet, Sam, because you don't have clients yet. You don't have a track record, or you've never worked with a client before, so you can't do this, or you don't have a fancy website, or you don't have all of these different things, so you can't do it. But that's not true. None of that stuff matters. So always remind yourself of this. I'd print this out too. I'd put this as a big reminder next to your computer. The only 3 things that matter. I'll make it look a bit better for you guys so you can print it out. There you go. These are the only 3 things that matter, and you want to practice the sales script all the time. You want to get this niche and offer, and then you want to start generating appointments. My niche is the meal replacement niche, and I've scheduled a call with the sales manager because he is the person that makes the decision at that company. In this 7-figure sales script, it says to figure out what they want. If I'm talking to the sales manager, what an increase in their salary is most likely what they want, and how do I cause self-inflicted pain for the sales manager? Very easy. So if you're selling a sales manager and he wants a salary increase, that's right. That is exactly what he wants. I mean, people only care about themselves. One thing that you'll learn from sales is that people only care about themselves, and you've just got to figure out what that is. And if you can help someone get that, then you'll be their best friend. So you've done it right. Him telling you that is definitely the truth. And you've got to ask him, well, what do you want? Like, what role in the company are you really looking for? And, what sort of an increase are you looking for in your salary? And then you can ask him, okay, and what's stopping you from getting there right now? That's the magic question. What is stopping you from getting there right now? And then he'll tell you. He'll be like, well, I need to hit sales quota. Like, here's the quota which the boss is giving me. We need to make $1 million a month. And right now we're making $600,000 a month. And I'm not going to get a pay rise, or I'm not going to get promoted unless I hit that quota. And then bam, you've figured it out. You've figured out what he wants, and you've figured out, what he needs to get there. And then you can figure out how, you as a marketing consultant could generate more leads for them and help them get to that sales quota. All we're doing is figuring out what people want and then positioning what we have as a vehicle to get that person to where they want. That makes sense to everyone, right? On this call. Cool. Figure out what people want and then position what you have as a vehicle to get them to where they want. Obviously, you can't lie. Like, if what you have isn't isn't a good fit to get someone where they want to go, then you just have to leave it alone. Like, you don't try and bend and mold your offering to fit for everyone. Like, there are people who will tell you their problem and everything, and you'll want to work with them and you'll want the money, but you can't, if someone's not a good fit, you have to leave the money on the table. You'll end up paying way more for it in the future. Mark my word for that. What are the techniques to provide effective consulting to egocentric, somewhat neurotic entrepreneurs that are action-oriented but are easily offended if they feel like you're telling them things they don't want to hear about themselves? You just flat out don't work with people like this. Any good entrepreneur wants to hear things that they've missed. So I want to if there's a problem, or if I've overlooked something, or if I've made a mistake, I absolutely want to know about it. And if someone comes to me and tells me, I am all ears. I'm not going to try and shut them down. I mean, that sounds like these are horrible entrepreneurs. And if they remain operating like this, then they're not going to make any money. Because egocentric, neurotic, offended when you're telling them things they don't want to hear, I wouldn't work with these people. If that's your niche, I wouldn't pick that as a niche. Like, that's not a good niche. Okay, so I have my niche, and looking for a little more insight. I know this isn't quite a week 3 question, but to be honest, I'm just not there at week 3 yet. My niche is as follows: a simple version to create more social media direct book customers for boutique hotels during their off-peak season. A little bit too specific. So it looks like you've put a little bit too much thought into this, which can happen. Like, sometimes people overdo it. So I would say I help boutique hotels. Now, there's special language that hotels use in the hospitality industry, and I think it's to do with occupancy. I think the word is occupancy. You'll figure it out when you talk to them. But I would say I help boutique hotels get to occupancy using social media. So I help the niche, which is boutique hotels, to achieve what's the result would be get to occupancy or full occupancy, whatever the language is that they use, using what you use, social media. Going just into during off-peak seasons, you're pigeonholing yourself into just that off-peak season. You don't want to only work for people in a certain time of the year. A seasonality business is not a good one. So you want to because that means you're only going to have the client during off-peak. You want to say that this is an ongoing thing. I define a boutique hotel as this is awesome. So you've chosen the niche well. You just need to define the result clearer and what you do. I feel pretty confident. This is a cool niche, by the way. Congrats on picking this one. This is really cool. Hospitality industry is huge online. Most people book online. These guys can charge anywhere from 1K to 3K a night, so the cash flow is there. Perfect. During the research stage, I looked a ton of info. Customers, yep. You're right. When you do research in business, the number one thing on most people's minds is this: customers. That means you did your research right. That's why I said if you help any niche get more customers, you will make a lot of money. No, you've done this exercise well. So this is an awesome niche. It's good to hear that they're selling for $1 to $3 grand a night. That means they're easily going to justify your fee. You've got a perfect definition here. I would just clean up this sentence a bit. I help boutique hotels to get to occupancy using social media. Do you have a formula that helps us reverse engineer our ad spend? For example, if I spend $1,000 a month, can I expect a 5x return or an X number of clients? Yes, so pretty much when we're running ads, we pay about in between $30 and $50 per appointment. So when we're using the VSL funnel, which I teach you, and you set up Facebook ads, you should expect in between $30 and $50 an appointment. So if you're going to spend $1,000 on ads, and we'll divide that by, or I'll use the number 50 because I don't want to, we'll use the higher end. So if you spend $1,000 on ads, that'll get you 20 appointments. If you do 20 appointments with a 1 in 5 conversion, for example, that could be 4 clients. So, you can pretty much use the number 50 to figure that one out. Hey, Sam, could you check out my website and give me some feedback? Sure. Looking good. Yeah, dude, this is a good site. Only thing I would change is I'd just make this background white. Like it's just a bit crazy going on in the background. It's very hard for me to read the text because my eyes just are attracted to these white things. And people are just trained to read black text on a white background. That's just what people are trained to do since they were born, pretty much. So I'd just have a plain white background. But otherwise, this website looks awesome. Good work. I used to work on my niche, property as a sourcer, finding properties for others for them to buy, and then we split the commission. How that I'm doing digital marketing, I want to reach these people because they tell me they need help, but they ask a lot of technical questions because they have tried Facebook ads in the past. I try not to go deep into what I will do, but I've worked with them before and we communicated a lot together. How do I conduct a professional sales call and be general when we worked in an informal way? So you'll have this problem when you approach people who know you from the past. And that's why you can start talking to those people, but quite often you need to go out to strangers. Strangers always have, strangers are always where the money's at in business. I mean, because if I went out to my friends in New Zealand, none of them are a good fit for what I'm doing. And none of them would, none of them really understand what I do or how much I charge or things like that. I mean, so you just got to get over it and just go out to people who don't know you. Because, if you've been helping someone for free in the past and now you're coming back and you're charging, I mean, it's hard to change that in their mind. Like if they're used to Sam being the free guy for Facebook who would do anything and, work evenings and work on the weekends for free, then, and all of a sudden now I'm coming back and I'm $2 grand a month. I mean, it's very hard for me to do that because in their mind, that's not how I'm positioned. So I would try it. I would go out to these old people and I would start pitching them and see how it goes. It might work, it might not. And then you've just got to start reaching out to some strangers. Hi, Sam. You said you use Gmail for email. Do you suggest using Gmail over Hotmail to avoid bouncing? Yes, I do suggest using Gmail. And I'm going to create a little training on this too. This is important. So what you want to do is you want to buy a domain name. If you want to use your name, you can go to Namecheap. Namecheap.com is where I recommend. You can search for your domain name. You can buy it. Most domain names are like $8 or something, pretty cheap. And so you get one of those, and then you want to go to Google Apps, and here's Google Apps, and you can get started, and you put in your information, and Google Apps allows you to set up a Gmail account with your domain name. So you could have, let's say someone in this course is called John White, right? So you could go john@johnwhite.com, and you could set that email up using Gmail. So you can log in using Gmail and have your own email address. That's what I recommend. And you want to use Namecheap to do that, and Google Apps. Hi Sam, questions. Do you ever do Facebook marketing to your likes? A lot of Facebook marketers teach that. No. Don't do Facebook marketing for likes. It costs like $1 a like. And I mean, it's just a bad way for you guys to be spending your money right now. I mean, if you guys were worth $20 million and you were new to Facebook and you were like, Sam, I want to build up my likes, I'd be like, okay, sure, let's, you can spend some money on that. But it's just a bad use of your money right now. Instead of using Qzx in the beginning, is it advisable that I should get started with just a $5 a day budget if I don't have a big budget? Yes. I recommend using Qzx to get started right away, because Qzx gives you a free trial, and you can do all the testing and everything you need with Qzx within the first 30 days, and then you don't need to pay for it because you only needed to do the testing within the first 30 days. So you can essentially use Qzx for free. So I'd recommend just following the training as is right now, and then a $5 a day budget, that'll be fine. My goal right now, like you mentioned, is to do 10 done-for-you clients to get results, experience, and social proof, then leverage these successes for group coaching. Since they aren't my first clients, though, should I position my done-for-you services as a beta package with a limited time discount, or just sell them? Just sell them and don't worry about it. That is exactly what you should do. Do you advise against allowing refunds for clients signed up through a strategy session, or should I have a refund guideline? I personally don't want to allow a refund, but what do you advise? I'm just starting out. Do what you're comfortable with. That's all I can say. If if the only way to make a sale is if the guy is saying, I want a guarantee, then you should include a guarantee, just because, you're starting out, and it's better to have the client in practice than it is to not have the client and not get the practice. But just do what you're most comfortable with. When I start working with clients, am I requesting access to their ad account, or am I just creating a new ad account? So this is a good question. If the client already has one, you request access to theirs. If they don't have one, you get them to create one, and then you get them to give access to you. So you're not creating it. You're getting access to theirs, or you're getting them to create one and then giving you access to theirs. Do you have the clients send their login for all their software? Yes, you need access to all of this. And you can build it all on your platforms too, if you want. Last live call, you mentioned Google AdWords should be used as well. My niche is IT consulting firms that make custom software, and I want to master Facebook ads. Should I look to learn Google AdWords as well for this particular niche? I would start with Facebook, and then if you feel like you need AdWords to learn AdWords. Right now, Facebook is the king. Like, if you know how to do Facebook ads, there's no way you're not making a lot of money these days. Like, knowing how to use Facebook, knowing how to do strategy sessions, they're extremely valuable skills. Like, I've helped people just get good at those two things, and they're making 10, 20 grand a month so fast, which is, that's a lot of money for someone starting out. So I would start with Facebook, and then if you need to, go to AdWords. Do you have a lumpy mail template we can use? Yes. So I didn't share these things last week because I got tied up. If I'm pitching a smaller corporation and there are any preparations that I should do different from the other types of businesses? No. Follow the same process every time. Can I start off more broad in the beginning and slowly become more of a specialist? Yes, but it depends how broad you're talking. I mean, how broad are we talking here? Are you going to help all businesses in the world, or are we just talking about service businesses? And then, I need to know more information here. I was emailing one of the managers, and he asked for my previous companies I'd worked with and the results. Since this is my first time, should I offer my service for free for referrals, or should I avoid the question and get on the call? I would avoid the question and get on the call, and then walk them through the process, and then if you can't sell them, I would offer it for free. But first of all, you want to try and sell it. And then if you can't, then this should be your second resort. Do it for free in exchange for referrals. Because in the beginning, getting some clients for free, getting the testimonials and the referrals, it's worth a lot of money. Like, it's not real money in your account, but it's going to make you a lot of money, in the next few months. So that's the way to look at it. What are some techniques for motivating budding entrepreneurs to see past their limitations and hire my consulting services? What do you recommend I do to keep them motivated? This is a very big question. To be honest, if you're coaching entrepreneurs, then you should really have the answers to this yourself. If you're a coach for entrepreneurs, and what do I do to keep them motivated? I don't know, that's probably something that you should know. But in terms what are techniques for see past their limitations and hire me? I would just use the consultation script, the 7-figure sales script, which I gave all of you guys. This is very powerful, and it enables you to make people see what they want, see the roadblocks in the way, and then see you as a vehicle to help get them past all of that. The sales script is excellent for inbound leads because they are soliciting us for help. How can we maximize the script when we're the ones soliciting prospects? It feels like they have the upper hand because we called them. Well, we're not doing outbound calls. We're not doing that. So we're not cold calling and trying to use our sales script. We can use it. We can email people. We can use direct mail, and we can use Facebook posts and things like that. All of those are awesome methods. And then they generate appointments. But we're never cold calling and then using the script. the script I gave you isn't good for cold calling, and I don't really believe in cold calling. Is it an advantage or a disadvantage to publicly on Facebook for market research? I want people to tell me things that I cannot help them with. I don't really know what this means. In week 2, you suggest setting up a credit card system with Stripe, and they don't have a phone customer service. You prefer it over Square, which has built-in invoicing, and you prefer it to pay funnels, right? So Stripe integrates with pay funnels. You need pay funnels and Stripe. And yes, I prefer it. I prefer it over Square. That's why I recommended it. I'm finding it challenging to get valuable data from market research and getting people to open up. Is it just a numbers game, or are there certain techniques I can use? How many people have you talked to? You want to try and talk to at least 20 or 30 people. If you've only talked to 2 or 3, then, of course, you want to try talk to 20 or 30. I'm currently using direct reaching out method to generate appointments. Should I set up a VSL right now, or would that come later? You can start setting up the VSL now. The VSL is very powerful. I'd start setting it up. Can you give more tips on how to accurately create my pricing for services, including techniques to accurately find my price point for individuals, coaching, small group consulting? You want individual coaching and small group consulting. You want to price that around $1,000 to $2,000 a month. No cheaper than that. Do you think it would be beneficial to include an ad spend amount in our retainer? No, you don't want to do that. It gets confusing. You want to have your fee as a clear $2,000 a month, and then you want ad spends to be on top of that. You don't want to include the two together. Is it a good idea to tell people who are interested in offer but can't afford it that you'll do an online course? No. Don't even talk about this stuff. Focus on one thing at a time. Right now, you just want to focus on selling your services and forget about courses for the meantime. Do you suggest that I start posting about my new business on Facebook even though I still have a 9-to-5 job? This is a tough one for me to answer. It depends. Like, if your boss and all your workmates are on Facebook, and if you feel like they're going to be annoyed that you're starting this business, then probably don't post it on Facebook. But if you don't have them as friends on Facebook, or if you don't feel like they're going to care, then do it. You have to use your own judgment here. So that's pretty much all the questions here. So now what I want to do is jump into some of these questions live on this webinar here. So we got Mandy, and Mandy says, I'm a qualified accountant and my niche is offering financial advice and financial reporting on a monthly basis, e.g. P&L, cash flow, balance sheet, etc. My target customer is small startup business, which is any startups, coffee shops, grocery stores, bakeries, etc. Do you think I should pick one particular business or just provide my services to coffee shops and go with small businesses? Good question, Mandy. I would go where you can provide the most value. So with the skills that you have and everything, like, where can you provide the most value? Do you know accounting tricks and, where are you like an accounting ninja for one particular niche? Where do you have amazing success stories and things like that? And then I'd focus in on that niche. Also, I'd be wary of, it depends how much you're charging for your services too. How much do coffee shops pay? How much does a coffee shop pay you per month for your accounting? Mandy, you can answer that here if you're still on. If you're still on, Mandy, how much do they pay? I don't think Mandy's on anymore. It's alright. Oh, about £200 per month. What's that in US? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's alright. I would focus on... Yeah, I mean... Let's read this question again. This is a tough one because I don't know if there's enough coffee shops. Like, are there enough coffee shops, Mandy, for you to completely fill up your accounting firm where you are? You can answer that question here. See, I really like the idea of being the accountant for coffee shops, like the coffee shop accountant. I mean, that would be awesome. And if you knew all the tricks and things like that, that that could work out really well. I'd focus on where you feel like you're most powerful and where you can provide the most value. I mean, focusing is always a good thing. Always. Provided you don't focus on something too small. Question from Felix. Hey Sam, how do we actually start pulling business without setting up a business/company? I believe we have to start it before we sign customers due to legalities and tax records and things like that. Good question, Felix. So in this program, I teach you to get your client first before you start the company. So you've got a client and he says he's ready to pay or ready to sign up or whatever. At that point, that's when you want to create your company. And to do that, it depends which state you're in, it depends which country you're in, and all those sorts of things. I mean, you just want to call an accountant and ask them what company structure they recommend, whether that's like an LLC or an S Corp or whatever, and then you can incorporate it very quickly. Generally within 24 hours you can have that set up. But you don't want to focus on this right now. You want to get the client first. That's the best way to do it. When should we get our domain name and Gmail account from Akiko? You can do that right now if you know what domain name you want and if you know what Gmail account you want. You can set that up right now. What company can afford $2,000 a month? What size company can afford $2,000 a month? Well, pretty much any company making more than 100. Generally, a company has to be making more than $100,000 a year to want to spend that. So you want to target companies making more than 100. Muhammad says, what do you suggest for people who don't have many friends on Facebook? If you don't have many friends on Facebook, I mean, don't really worry about the organic posts strategy. You can focus on the other strategies like direct outreach, direct mail, and using your VSL funnel. Richard says, started sending direct outreach emails. I used your sample as a guide, but made changes as I suggested. I sent out about 100 and will continue sending more. What approximate response should I expect? This is hard for me to say. I mean, you should expect probably around 4 or 5% from direct outreach emails like that. Any tips for targeting realtors and real estate brokers and the people they service? Yeah, I mean, the best way to target these guys is probably just email. I mean, all of them have their emails on their website, and they check their emails all the time. I'll just reach out to them. What do you suggest for people who don't have many friends? Oh, I've already answered that. Oh, and then James says for Facebook, I mean. You want to target people who like, things to do with real estate. I mean, there's all of the different real estate brokerages like Remax and Douglas Elliman and, all of those different ones. There's also things that only real estate people would like. I mean, if you're in the real estate niche, you should know what those are. I mean, real estate people all hang out together. They all like the same things. I mean, you want to start targeting those things. Hani says, once you get your prospect more traffic through campaigns and the ads, how does that translate into revenue if they are not good at closing deals once a client contacts them? Well, that's their problem. If you're generating them leads and stuff, but they're not closing them, then you just need to tell them. You're like, look, I'm generating you a lot of leads. You're not closing them. You need to work on your sales process. It's not your fault. All you need to do is inform them, and they should be able to fix that themselves. Can you give an example of how to do an organic ad on Facebook for an IT niche? I'm going to give how to do organic. I've put in here how to do some organic posts. I'll be sharing this around week 7. Matthew says, can you talk a little bit about managing your time? Like, how do we manage a calendar efficiently? How do we organize things and get them done? How do you do it? Well, this depends on, first of all, how much time you have. I mean, if you have a 9-to-5 job, then you either need to work in the mornings, in the evenings, or on the weekends. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, you could work from 5 a.m. in the morning till 9. I mean, that gives you like 4 hours. And then you could work from, 6 p.m. to 10. I mean, that gives you another 4 hours. Like, even people who have 9-to-5 jobs can figure out how to create another 8 hours a day. I mean, you could work from 5 a.m. to 9 and then from 6 p.m. till 10. And then work your 9-to-5 job as well. Or you could work on the weekends. If you worked Saturday and Sunday for 12 hours a day, I mean, that's 24 hours. That's a lot of time. Anyone can create time. Most people are just too lazy. But how would I manage a calendar for you guys? It's a good question. I actually created a training on this once, so I'm going to share it. The first 4 hours of the day need to be prospecting. So first 4 hours of your day, you need to be reaching out to new people, whether that's cold email or whatever. But I'm going to share this. This is really good. Gabriel says, hey Sam, thanks for the call. As soon as I get a client that is ready to pay me, what are my next steps on incorporation? It totally depends where you are, Gabriel. I mean, you just want to call up an accountant and they will tell you, they'll tell you probably for free. Like, all accountants give you, like, your first call with them is always free because, they're telling you what to do, and then they're like, do you want me to do it for you? So, I mean, once you've got your client, call up an accountant in your local area, tell them what you want to do, and they'll tell you what structure is best. And then you can just set that up online. I mean, you can set up an LLC or an S Corp online. It's pretty easy. And then you can go to your bank and open the bank account. You can do it all within about 24 or 48 hours, and you can do it all for like under $100. Hey Sam, question about starting a business/company entity. This is from Felix. I believe we have to start it before we sign customers. You don't. Just follow what I just said in this call. Tony says, a few months ago, Facebook disabled my ads account just after launching my first ad, and I've contacted them. They are not reactivating it. How can I get it back? You can't. If Facebook bans your account, you can't get it back. You can try calling them and emailing them. It doesn't happen. So forget about it, and you just need to open up a new account. You can open up a new account, no problem. Hey Sam, I was going through the company employees LinkedIn, and would it be better to talk to the marketing manager, sales manager, or business development manager? I would talk to the marketing manager. Brent says, Sam, my niche is restaurants, and I want to help them with digital marketing. Does the restaurant's profit determine whether I should work with them? Should I focus on restaurants that are charging $50 or $10 a plate? At this point, I can't answer that. It's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. So restaurants is going to be a good niche, but now you need to start prospecting and trying to sell these different restaurants, and you'll naturally find out for yourself which ones are better. So you might try and sell both of them right now, and just from experience, you'll be able to learn which ones are better, the higher ticket ones or the lower ticket ones. Glenn says, Sam, firstly, I honestly can't believe how amazing your training is. Thank you, Glenn. My niche was originally to help professional services, attorneys and accountants attract and win high-value clients using digital marketing. I'm struggling, however, since I feel it may be too broad. Do you think I need to be more specific? Also, if I narrow to attorneys, do you feel there is inherent risk in that niche due to a higher likelihood for legal issues? No, there's not an issue for legal issues because we're not doing anything wrong. So I would absolutely, attorneys are a great niche. Accountants are a great niche. I would specialize if you want. I just, gun to your head. What are you going to choose? Attorneys or accountants? I would choose, and I'd just specialize on one of those. I've got clients who are making a lot of money in both of those. I've got guys who are in accounting, and I've got guys who are in legal. Miguel says, well, my fee for managing this for you is $2,000 a month, and there's a setup fee of $2,000. Just reading through this. In week 2, you said that we should use incentive-based pricing, but we also need to include ad spend budget. Should we say that our services are $3,000 a month? Starting budget $5,000. Yes, you can do that, Miguel. That would work. Mohammed says, what do you suggest? Oh, I've already answered this. Sandro says, would you create VSLs for your clients as well? Yes, I would. VSLs work very well. Mandy says, I've already answered this. Ian says, I picked my niche, helping music producers and artists get more exposure. The problem is that with this service, these type of clients won't pay $1,000 per month. I was thinking of charging $500. I would try $1,000 and see for yourself. And then if you have to drop down to $500, I mean, if this niche is important to you, you could drop down to that. I recommend keeping your prices high, but if you really want to be in this niche, you might have to price a bit lower. Jules says, hey Sam, have you found that small businesses are still paying large amounts for Yellow Pages ads, and showing them how Facebook ads is the smart path for future could be an easy cost justification? Yes, that's a really good idea, Jules. Hiram says, hey Sam, my niche is help growing concrete businesses get and keep qualified labor through a better working culture. How can I help a lot of businesses? It seems that this might take up a lot of time for each business, and I won't be able to help a lot of different clients. Help growing concrete businesses get and keep qualified labor through a better working culture. How can I help a lot of businesses? It seems that this may take up a lot of time for each business, and I won't be able to help a lot of different clients. Well, Hiram, you need to work with one client first, and you need to figure out exactly how it works with one client. And then once you have one client, you can take on two. And as you start doing it, you'll get better and better and better. And once you get better, you don't need to work with the client for so long. So I would start right now, get your first few clients and see how it goes. I mean, you can always change things up later. Michael says, hi Sam, I'm not sure if you answered this question yet, but in 2 weeks now, I'm still on week 1 of my homework. I've done about 2 interviews so far, helping financial advisors get more clients. But the problem I'm having is trying to find the people to interview with the 10 smart market questions. I'd like to know if there is any easy method for getting in contact with people. Honestly, the best way to do it is just to email them, Michael. I'd find 100 people's email addresses and I'd start sending out emails to them. Hey, so Felix says, hey Sam, question with the advertising spend. What if we run out of the spend? Also, what do we do with the additional leftover? Do we carry the leftover budget to the next month? And do we charge a monthly ad spend on top? Good question. So you want to set the daily budgets so that you don't run it out before the month's over. I mean, if someone's got $1,000 in ad spend, you want to set their daily budget to $30. You don't want to go over 30. That's how you make sure it doesn't run out. But if you're not able to spend the 30, then yes, it carries over into the next month. Hani says, are we building and managing the campaign to clients as part of this training or advising them of how to do it? We would be building it out for them ourselves in the beginning. We want to do it for them first, and then later on we can advise them on how to do it themselves. But we have to do it first to learn. Brent says, my niche is restaurants and I want... Okay, I've already answered this. So Cody says, Sam, if we don't have an email list, what are your thoughts on purchasing an email list? Don't do it. It never works out well. Ryan says, if you pick a niche and continually reach out, does it become problematic when you've contacted the majority of companies in your niche? That's very hard to do, Ryan. I mean, if you're going to target a niche, it's, niches are still big. You're not going to burn through your whole niche. Liz says, how do you work out how much your budget should be for the VSL funnel for yourself? That's just whatever you have monthly to spend on your ads, Liz. So you want to look at your income, you want to look at your expenses, you want to look at how much money you can personally budget for your VSL funnel. And then you need to work that out for yourself. Everyone will be different. Sahani asks a good question. How would you manage your clients in the same industry, competitors in the same area? That's totally fine. I mean, we don't offer exclusivity, so we can work with more than one competitor in one market. Let's say you help accountants get more clients. I mean, you're allowed to work with as many accountants as you want. There's not a problem, because they're not paying us for exclusivity. That's just how the world works. Mohammed says, you advise on focusing on one niche. Yeah, Mohammed, I wouldn't focus on a seasonal niche. I would choose a niche that's all year round. So Chris Nyundu says, I was thinking of helping architects to get more clients with digital marketing. Should I start by focusing on New Zealand or go big? Start with New Zealand and then scale out later. Always start with what you know and then venture out as soon as you've got it proven. Natalie says, sorry, I know this is a week one question, but I'd love your thoughts. My niche is private primary care doctors. I'm an integrated health care expert. So my offer is X hours of IHC coaching to select. There's no direct additional income for the docs. I think this is a good offer. I like it, Natalie. I would go with this, and I'd start selling it and see how it goes. And Richard, I just looked through your email and it looks good. I think that's ready to send. Henry says, hi Sam, I was going through the companies and I've already answered this. So Sandro says, hey Sam, when you sign your client, 1, would you send them the market research questions in the client avatar to fill out? Yes, I would. Would you send your VSL via direct outreach emails? No, you don't. Would you create your VSL for your clients, or would you instruct and train them on how to do it? You would do it for them, but you need to ask them all the questions for it. I mean, you're not expected to find out what to write. You need to ask your clients for that information. So David said, what type of issues would cause Facebook to shut down your ads? All of that I teach you in the Facebook training. So inside the course, there's a very comprehensive training for Facebook, and I show you how to be compliant and how to make sure your ads account doesn't get shut down. So Liz says, Sam, do you think a good way to do market research is to publicly ask in Facebook forums? Yes, that's a very good way. Andrew says, hey Sam, thanks for this training. I'm a project management consultant. My niche is helping companies in health, oil and gas extraction, and agribusiness who are delivering multiple projects. I help senior project staff to upskill project staff and establish and manage portfolio dashboards so they're able to deliver the right information to the right people. It's way too wordy, Andrew, and you're talking a bit too much about what you're going to do instead of what they get. So you don't even need to talk about the dashboards or anything. You want to talk about the outcome. So what's the outcome for all of that? You need to figure what the outcome is, and you need to make your sentence much smaller and much more precise. You've got the raw materials here. You just need to, you need to slim it down, and you need to make it a bit more focused. Barry says, what if we know a Facebook friend will be interested in business posts? Write and ask? Yeah. Send them a direct message on Facebook. Gabriel says, my niche is restaurants, and I'm wondering what your take is on persuading them on the value of digital advertising. Since I'm not directly getting leads they can touch, but is more about exposure advertising and more effectively communicating with existing clients. Gabrielle, I have a high-end client who does Facebook marketing for restaurants, and he makes over $1 million a year. So you can absolutely do this. There is huge value in Facebook marketing for restaurants. Sam, what do you think about SEO marketing? It says it's going to grow to 80 billion spending by 2020. Yeah, I'm not a fan of SEO. SEO is complicated. Like it's hard to do SEO, first of all. It's slow and it's a lot of work. Also, SEO it's not an exact art. I mean, SEO changes all the time. Like I've known people who are really good at SEO and then Google changes the algorithm and then, they're bankrupt. I've seen that happen to more SEO people than I can imagine. And I've never really seen someone sustain good profits in SEO. It's always up and down, and there's sometimes they're going good and sometimes their clients have all left them, and sometimes there's even legal cases because they've gotten a client banned from Google and stuff. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I've got friends who do SEO, and I've decided to go with paid advertising, and I make 10, 20 times more. So I would stick with this stuff. It's a lot more profitable. It's a lot easier. Hey Sam, question with signing customers on. Would it be wise to lock them into a yearly contract or just month to month? I would just go month to month, Felix. Henry says he's reaching out to these companies' customer service email to ask if he can talk to someone on the phone. Should I call? Henry, you want to try and figure out, you want to look on their websites and you want to look on LinkedIn and you want to try and find out who the management team are and then get directly in contact with them. Henry says, if they ask for ROI, what should I say? Well, if you tell someone ROI, you're really making it up, and you need to tell them that. You're like, look, if you ask me for ROI right now, like, if I was to give you a number, it would be completely dishonest. And so I can't tell you. What we need to do with paid advertising is we need to start out and get the campaign live. And in the first month, we can determine what the metrics will be. And after our first month, we'll be able to determine whether, what the exact ROI will be. That's what you need to tell people. If you say like, look, we'll make you 10 to 1 in your first month, I mean, you're putting yourself under way too much pressure, and you pretty much just made that number up. That's how you need to answer that question. Richard said, is it true that you personally invite your 100K per month students into a gathering at your apartment? Yes, that is true. And that's a good goal, Richard, to try and get there by the end of this year. You can absolutely get there by the end of this year. All right, well, that pretty much looks like all the questions from today's call. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting this content together for you guys, because I need to start sharing all of this stuff, all of this additional stuff here. So I'm going to go ahead and get cracking on all of that. I'm just skimming through these. So if you had any, I'm pretty sure I answered all the questions on today's call. But if I missed your question, then you can ask it in the Facebook group, or there will be another group call next week, and you're welcome to ask on the group call next week. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get cracking on this information here right now. And thanks everyone for attending this webinar, and I will see you all on the next one next week. Thanks.